name is Daniel, and what I'm about to share is something I've never admitted out loud before. It's not one of those stories I tell for laughs at parties, or a memory I can shrug off as a bad dream. No, this is something that still keeps me up at night, and sometimes, when I close my eyes, I can still hear the faint sound of that knock on my door. It started, like most of my mistakes do, with curiosity. I was 21, bored, and too stubborn to study for exams. A few of my friends had been bragging about visiting the dark web, calling it the internet's basement, a place where you could find anything, fake passports, weird experiments, even things so disturbing they didn't dare describe them. I laughed it off, but the idea stuck. I wanted to see it for myself, just once. After a little research, using a VPN, Tor browser, and some sketchy guides, I finally made it in. It felt anticlimactic at first. Most of the marketplaces looked like knockoff eBay pages with clunky design and broken English, but there was a tension in my chest, like I had just broken into someone else's house and was wandering around their living room. I should have logged off right then. But of course, I didn't. Scrolling through the categories, I saw drugs, counterfeit money, stolen Netflix accounts. Nothing that surprised me. Then I noticed a section called Exclusive Listings. It didn't look like much, just plain text links, but something about it drew me in. When I clicked, I found myself staring at dozens of ads that didn't belong on any marketplace. One read, "Fresh experiences, custom requests accepted." Another, "Sleepers, priced per hour." But one listing made my blood run cold. "People, for sale, verified delivery. Guaranteed." I actually laughed at first, convincing myself it had to be fake, some sick joke or scam. But then curiosity twisted its claws deeper into me, and I clicked. What I saw was a grid of profiles, photos of people, men, women, even kids. Their faces were blurred, but you could see enough: the outline of a jaw, the color of their hair, the clothes they were wearing. Each had a short description: age, height, weight, and something called condition. Some were labeled healthy, others tired, drugged, or uncooperative. My stomach dropped. I wanted to slam my laptop shut, but my eyes stayed glued to the screen. That's when I noticed something that made my heart freeze. One of the photos looked familiar. It was a girl in a red hoodie, standing against what looked like a bus stop wall. Her face was blurred, but I swear I'd seen her before, on campus. At the coffee shop I went to every morning, and beneath her photo, the word, available. I don't know how long I stared at the screen, but when I finally closed the tab, my hands were shaking so hard I could barely control the mouse. I told myself it was fake, a scam designed to freak people out, but a voice in the back of my head whispered otherwise. Because just 2 days later, I noticed the missing posters on the university bulletin board. A girl in a red hoodie, same height, same hair color, same haunting familiarity. I wanted to go to the police, but what would I even say? That I was poking around the dark web for fun and stumbled across a trafficking site? I imagined the look on their faces, the questions, the consequences. So, I kept my mouth shut. But then, the knock came. It was 3 a.m, and I was dozing off at my desk when I heard it. Not a polite knock, not even the drunken pounding of a neighbor. This was sharp, deliberate, and steady. 3 knocks. Silence. 3 more knocks. I froze. Who the hell knocks at that hour? Slowly, I got up and looked through the peephole. No one was there, just the empty hallway stretching out in both directions. I held my breath, waiting. But after a long silence, I finally backed away and locked every bolt I had. The next morning, I convinced myself I'd imagined it. That stress and lack of sleep were playing tricks on me, until I checked my laptop. When I opened the lid, the marketplace page was back on my screen. The same profiles, the same grid, but one had been highlighted, the girl in the red hoodie, and beneath her photo, a new word: sold. That was months ago, and I've tried to move on. I deleted everything, even destroyed that laptop. But sometimes, I swear, I still hear that knock in the dead of night, and I can't shake the feeling that someone out there knows my name. Because after that night, I started receiving emails from addresses I didn't recognize. No subject line, no message, just one attachment every single time. A photo of me, taken through my window. My name is Ethan, and if you're listening to this, please learn from my mistake. I'm not the type who goes looking for trouble online. I wasn't chasing thrills on the dark web or trying to scare myself with cursed videos, but somehow, trouble found me anyway, through something as harmless as a forum thread. It started on a quiet night, the kind where the silence feels heavier than it should. I was up late scrolling through obscure corners of the internet, old conspiracy boards, forgotten blogs, half-dead chat rooms. That's when I stumbled onto a forum I'd never seen before. Its name was strange. The Threshold. The site looked ancient, like something left behind in the early 2000s. Dark gray background, blocky text, broken images. But people were still posting, and one thread caught my eye. The title read, "Wanna play a game?" Normally, I would have rolled my eyes and clicked away, but the replies were different. They weren't jokes or trolling. They were short, nervous, almost pleading. I played. Don't do it. You can't quit once you start. Please, if you're reading this, just close the page. It felt staged, like bait. But I was curious. What was the game? So I clicked. The post was simple, just a set of rules. 1. At midnight, light a candle. 2. Sit in front of a mirror. 3. Type your full name into the forum's reply box. 4. Do not break eye contact with your reflection until the candle goes out. 5. Never play twice. That was it. No explanation. No prize. Nothing but those rules. I told myself it was nonsense, probably an ARG or some creepypasta knockoff. But when I glanced at the clock on my desk, the digital numbers glowed 11:59. It felt like a dare. And I've always been bad at walking away from dares. So, like an idiot, I lit a candle. I dragged the full-length mirror from my closet and sat cross-legged in front of it. And at exactly midnight, I typed my name, Ethan Carter, into the reply box. The flame flickered, the shadows shifted, and for a moment, I felt like I'd just opened a door I couldn't close. I stared into the mirror, telling myself it was all a joke. My reflection stared back, tired eyes, messy hair, the usual. But then, the delay started. At first it was subtle. I'd blink, and a fraction of a second later, my reflection blinked. I'd tilt my head, and the reflection lagged just slightly. Enough to notice. Enough to chill me to the bone. I whispered, "This isn't real," and the reflection whispered it back, half a second late. The candle crackled, burning lower, the wax dripping like blood down its side. I couldn't look away. The rules said not to break eye contact, and some instinct told me the rules mattered. Minutes passed. My reflection began to change. His smile came first, slow, stretching too wide until it looked painful. But I wasn't smiling. My lips stayed frozen. Then his eyes darkened, the white swallowed by black. And still, I stared. Finally, mercifully, the candle guttered out. The room fell into darkness. When I scrambled to turn on the light, the mirror showed only me again. Just me. I laughed nervously, convinced I'd psyched myself out. But when I looked back at my computer screen, there was a new reply under my post. "Welcome, Ethan. Game saved." I didn't sleep that night, didn't even close my eyes. And for a while, I tried to convince myself it was nothing. An elaborate prank, a coincidence, until the second candle. A week later, I came home to find a candle already lit on my desk. I hadn't touched one since that night. The flame danced gently, as though waiting for me. And in the mirror above my dresser, my reflection was already smiling, already waiting. I panicked, blew out the candle, and yanked the mirror down, shoving it face first under my bed. But that didn't matter, because the next morning, I checked the forum again. There was another reply under my post. This one in bold letters. "Never play twice. Your turn begins at midnight." That night, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't keep my eyes closed at midnight. Something made me sit up, trembling, as shadows moved unnaturally across my room. The faint glow of a flame flickered under the bed where I'd hidden the mirror. And when I bent down, too afraid not to look, my reflection was already there, smiling, waiting, his candle still burning bright. My name is Marcus, and this is the night that changed how I see the internet forever. I used to think of myself as just another bored college kid, wasting nights scrolling through junk I'd forget by morning. But what I saw on one live stream, I can't unsee it. And worse, I think whoever was behind it knows I was watching. It was a Friday night. Everyone else was out drinking or at parties, but I wasn't in the mood. I stayed in my dorm, headphones on, bouncing between YouTube, Twitch, and forums I had no business being on. That's when I came across a thread titled, "Live Now, Not for the Weak." It had barely any replies, and the link was buried under warnings like, "You'll regret it," and "Don't watch alone." I should have clicked away. But curiosity is a disease, and I've never been immune. So I clicked. The page was blank at first, just a black background with a spinning loading icon. Then the stream appeared. A dimly lit room, concrete walls, one flickering bulb overhead, and a man sitting in the middle of the frame, tied to a chair. His head hung forward, a dirty rag tied around his mouth. I thought maybe it was some kind of sick prank. One of those edgy performance art streams meant to shock people. But then the camera moved, smoothly, like someone was controlling it. It zoomed in on the man's face. I could see bruises on his cheek, blood dried under his nose. His eyes darted toward the camera, and for a split second, I swear he looked straight at me. In the chat window, comments were flooding in. Not normal chat, either. These weren't random viewers making jokes. They were buyers. People were bidding. I saw usernames with strings of numbers placing offers, followed by words like finger, tooth, time. It hit me like ice water. They weren't just watching. They were paying to decide what happened next. I froze, my cursor hovering over the tab, but I couldn't click away. It felt like if I did, I'd miss something important, something I wasn't supposed to see. Then the man behind the camera stepped into view. He wore a black mask and gloves, his movements calm, deliberate. He checked the screen, nodded, and pulled out a pair of pliers. The tied-up man struggled, muffled screams spilling against the rag, but it didn't matter. The masked man grabbed his jaw, forcing it open. I won't describe what happened next in detail, because even now my stomach twists remembering it. But the sound, that wet cracking sound, still echoes in my head. I should have slammed my laptop shut. Instead, I just sat there, paralyzed, while the chat erupted in cheers and new bids. And that's when I realized something terrifying. One of the usernames in the chat was mine. It was my exact handle from an old gaming forum I hadn't used in years. And next to it was a bid. I hadn't typed anything, I hadn't entered any payment. But there it was, my name, my account, offering money to keep the torture going. Panic rushed through me. I yanked out my headphones, slammed the tab shut, and disconnected from the Wi-Fi. My heart was hammering so loud I thought I'd wake my roommate. But when I looked back at the screen, the stream was still running, even offline, even disconnected. The man in the chair was gone. The masked figure was standing close to the camera, filling the frame. And this time, he wasn't looking at the bidders. He was looking directly at me. I slammed the laptop shut and shoved it under my bed like it was alive. Sleep didn't come that night. Every creak in the dorm, every laugh from the hallway made me flinch. The next morning, I convinced myself it was some elaborate hack, that they'd stolen my old account info somehow and faked my presence in the chat, that the camera couldn't have been looking at me. I tried to believe that, until last week. I came back from class to find an envelope slid under my dorm door. No return address, no note, just a single photo inside. It was a still from the live stream. That same concrete room, that same chair. Only this time, the person tied to it wasn't the man I saw before. It was me. Same hoodie, same haircut, same scar on my hand. And scrawled at the bottom in jagged black marker were two words: "You're next."